The question of how has the church in her wisdom throughout 2,000 years dealt with chaos or with discord. Narcissism is an unhealthy self-awareness whereby we are only concerned about my needs, my circumstances, my problems, and nobody else's. It's a rather remarkable thing if you stop and think about it. And it means sometimes looking at the greater good by being able to share the resources we have, as you've heard me say. Now when I meet with people in the ACNA, if I'm with a particular jurisdiction and says, well, how can we grow? We don't have a seminary. And I said, you're absolutely wrong. We have 4 seminaries. No, we don't. Oh, yeah, we do. And then I name it. Well, that's not ours. Oh? What do you mean it's not ours? Aren't we in this together? Well, we don't have any deaconesses. Oh, is that a fact? No, yeah, well, gee whiz, I've held the hand of a few when I've shaken their hands. We have deaconesses. Yeah, but we don't have, oh, I'm sorry. This is an us now. This is not a me anymore. Well, yeah, but you have to understand, we thought it would be nice to have some monks and nuns. We don't have any. Yeah, actually, we have 5 religious orders. What? In our church? Yeah, we actually do. And yeah, but I'd like to do some education from a distance. Can't do it. Oh, why is that? 2 of our 4 seminaries actually offer off-campus training, online training. I mean, do you not find it a little bit remarkable, folks, that if you have function in a profession, that ongoing training is required, that we have to have ongoing training to be accredited, and that we have to have continuing education in those various areas in the church? Tu es sacerdos in eterno. I mean, it's true, it's a good theological point, you're a priest forever. But why is it that we don't have mandatory ongoing education for the clergy? See, I don't understand that. And with all that is going on in the church today, we need that. Failure to have something like that will breed congregationalism. And it will mean that people will be more concerned about their turf than integrating with others in forums such as this. Well, yes, but you don't understand what it's like to have a ministry in an area that's heavily Asian. Oh, yeah? Well, maybe I don't personally, although I do. I actually had a Korean congregation within my parish when I was parish priest. But, I mean, to use that as an argument, well, okay. But we now have people who know how to do that. Yeah, but what about Hispanic ministry? Oh, yeah? Would you like to meet some who are engaged in Hispanic ministry so you can find out what they've learned? I mean, for example, one of the priests here has already indicated one of the best ways to do Hispanic ministry. Is it by offering Spanish? No. House blessings. House blessings. Going into people's houses and blessing their houses. It's something they vaguely remember, or at least they encountered when they were growing up. They're not used to the priest coming to the house anymore. See, one of the beauties of Anglicanism is we've always been able to offer as our strong suit pastoral care. We don't have 3 masses each day. We don't have 7 on the weekend. And we actually meet with people instead of sending them off before getting married to a conference. We meet with them. And before we do a funeral, we actually meet with a family. And we go to their homes. We offer pastoral care. That's our strong suit. What are the things that we are learning from each other so that we might be able to build this ecclesial pool of wealth that has suddenly been put in our laps? What are we doing to celebrate it? Well, it's interesting. I've asked those questions as I've gone around the church, and the only time I can get any ripple of enthusiasm from anybody about some of this is when somebody asks the question that goes a little bit like this. So what's the new prayer book going to be like? Then suddenly I see the enthusiasm. I see the eyes that were in a state of meditation as they were reviewing the inside of their eyelashes and their eyelids. I suddenly see them open up. The glaze is taken away. And suddenly, is it my prayer book? Or is it this one? Well, I'm happy to report that there is a task force on prayer book and liturgy. I'm also equally happy to report that after a year, there's no prayer book. And I'm happy to report that because of the fact that this is a group that has developed the theological circumstances and the theological realities that have been shared with all the bishops so that they can review it and say, these should be some of the principles that are added. Why? Everybody wants to canonize their favorite prayer. But before we do that, we better know what the principles are so that we make certain that the adoption of such things will be consistent on a couple of levels. One of the most interesting things in dealing with Roman Catholics, of course, is to deal with the matter of, have we always adhered to the tripartite understanding of sacramental validity? Form, intention, and matter. Have we adhered to it? And of course, there will be some based on the papal bull related to Anglican orders that the intention was not there, at least in one period, they would say, and perhaps even the intention was not there. Well, overreactionary types have done their best to try to be able to adhere to the concept of tactile apostolic succession, which in many instances, as much as I adhere to the idea of tactile apostolic succession, isn't all that different from going into a horse's barn and seeing the stud chart. That is, that you can definitely guarantee that it all happened, but, and the Eastern Orthodox, of course, have a very different perspective. You produce for them an apostolic succession chart that shows the absolute, chart. I'll give you mine sometime. All of you have yours, I'm sure. But if you want to see mine, you'll see who laid hands on me, who laid hands on him, who laid hands on him, and go back to the apostles very directly. So, it's a wonderful thing. It is. It's part of our connectedness. We believe in apostolic succession. But you know what the Eastern Orthodox say, don't you? You might have right succession, but you have right faith. Because in the Eastern Church, the moment that somebody teaches something that is heretical or creates apostasy is the moment they separate themselves from apostolic succession. So you see, it's right form with right faith that must be wedded together. Now, on the other hand, you will discover some people who seem to have right faith. And I'm dealing with them a great deal of the time. I cannot begin to tell you how many phone calls per week I am currently getting from groups who say to me now, how can we have apostolic succession? How can we become a part of this excitement that is emerging called Anglicanism?